Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to this video, guys. My name is Liaquat Zaman. This is my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. So, and it's a sad day. We have come to the end of the poems of Imam Shafi, rahimahullah ta'ala. There might be some poems out there which I have left out. I'm fairly certain of that. If there are any that I have left out, please put them in the comments below. And inshallah, I will look through them and hopefully make a video on them. Next stage is going to be the poetry of Imam Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So look out for that, inshallah. It's going to be a very nice series, inshallah ta'ala. Right, so without any delay, if you guys are not familiar with my channel, hit the like button, subscribe button, and check out the videos that I make. So this poem that I have selected today, or the poem that we have left today, is a nice poem about the importance of controlling what you say. Right, so sometimes we don't realize the importance of controlling what we say. So here Imam Shafi rahimahullah, he highlights this point. Imam Shafi rahimahullah, he says, لا خير في حشو الكلام إذا اهتديت إلى عيونه والصمت أجمل بالفتى من منطق في غير حينه وعلى الفتى لطباعه سمة تلوح على جبينه. He says, لا خير, there is no khair, there is no goodness at all. في حشو الكلام. حشو in Arabic, hasha yahshu, it means to fill something up. Like if you have pillows, and in the olden days, I don't know if you guys still remember this, but in the olden days, my grandma used to have pillows and she would fill them up with you know, whatever she used to put inside of them to make them more padded. And let's say you have a coat and it has padding inside it. That padding is called hashu. So hashu of anything is something which is there simply to fill something up. It's not the important thing. It's the marginal issue. It's the peripheral issue. Right? It's the things which are not really that important. It's just like the filling kind of aspects of life. He says, لا خير في حشو الكلام. There's no khair in kalam, in speech, in conversations, in discussions, in messages that are simply just hashu, meaning things that are extra things. Right? In other words, there's some people who spend their time in just going after junk information, right? Information which really doesn't really kind of get you to the core of the matter. إذا اهتديت إلى عيونه. إذا, when, اهتديت, you are guided, you find. So اهتديت can also be translated as you find. إذا اهتديت, when you find, when you're guided. إلى عيونه. عيون is the jama of ayn, which means at the core of something, the center of something, like the spring where the source of the water emanates from. In other words, what he's saying is, if you find the core, the center, the source of a discussion, then you don't need any other peripheral issues regarding that. And some people, I mean, as a person who has studied knowledge and graduated, and I do a lot of reading, sometimes I spend so much time reading something and there wasn't really much benefit in me reading it because it wasn't the main thing that I was looking for. Rather, when I find the main thing, that's called the ayn, that's called the core of the knowledge that I've been seeking. And it probably happened to you as well. Sometimes you're going through your social media feeds and there's lots of things in there which honestly are just a waste of time. You know, it hasn't really made you a better person. It hasn't benefited you in this world or possibly not even in hereafter. So he says, when a person, there's no khair in extra discussions on things when you reach the uyun, when you reach the core, the center. وَالصَّمْتُ أَجْمَلُ بِالْفَتَى. And samt, silence, is beautiful in a person. Samt is silence. If you know in the Quran where this word or a derivative of this word appears, then put it in the comments below, yeah? So samt, this is a good way, when I ask you these kind of questions, this is a very good way of training yourselves up in investigation, in recollection as well. وَالصَّمْتُ أَجْمَلُ بِالْفَتَى. أَجْمَلُ ism tafdeel, it means the most beautiful. Now, do you know why something is called jamil? Because the word jamil is actually from the word jamala. And jamala, it means to put things together, like a jumla. Right? A jumla is like several things that have been put together. So beauty actually is in multiple things coming together. Right? Rather than, for example, imagine I took my eye out of my nose and just showed my eye and my nose. It doesn't look very nice. But when you put the eye next to the eye and the nose in the right place, the mouth in the right place, it starts to give nice features, nice appearance to the features as well. So he says, وَالصَّمْتُ أَجْمَلُ بِالْفَتَى. Fata is like a young man. Yeah. And the feminine version is fatat. So, وَالصَّمْتُ أَجْمَلُ. And silence is the most beautiful thing with a young man. So, أَجْمَلُ بِالْفَتَى. This is like in English, we don't say this. We don't say it's silence is beautiful with a young man. Like, what does it mean with a young man? It means silence is beautiful when a young man has it. Yeah, so when it accompanies a young man. So, الصمت أجمل بالفتى. So, والصمت بالفتى أجمل. Silence that a young man has. A young man who, talks obviously, but he kind of like, when he doesn't need to talk, he's silent. Samt. This is أجمل. Min what? So, صمت بالفتى أجمل. That's how the order of the sentences should work. Min mantiq. Mantiq in Arabic language means speech. And it's also used for logic as well, the science of logic. Because logic and speech is also like interconnected. So min mantiqin is more beautiful than speech fi ghayri hinihi. So fi in ghayr other than hinihi, its time. So in other words, silence, when it accompanies samtu bil fata, the silence of a young man is the most beautiful things, more beautiful than speaking at the wrong time. So what it means, that when a person speaks at the wrong time, this guy messes himself up. And in fact, Ali radiallahu anhu used to say a very nice statement. He used to say that the tongue is the slave of a person until he speaks. Once he speaks, the person becomes the slave of the tongue. Yeah. So in other words, once you speak, and that's it, you expose yourself, right? You kind of get yourself into a lot of problems. So here he's basically saying that people should learn when to speak and when not to speak. There's always a time and a place for things, right? In other words, so as-samtu ajmalu bil fata min mantiqin. It's more beautiful than speech fi ghayri hinihi. Wa 'ala al-fata li tiba'ihi simatun. Wa 'ala al-fata. Now you see, again, when you go through poetry, just like you've been seeing us go through this poetry, and you've found that it's very interesting how the sequence of wording, is not in the right kind of place. This is because the poem's meters, the poem's pattern, has to conform with a specific. And I've actually done a series on this, a course on this on my uruk.com website. وَعَلَى الْفَتَى, fata again, and upon the fata, on top of him, on him. لِتِبَعِ simatun. So simatun is what we call the ism or the mubtada. Is a simatun. Sima is from the word wasama yasimu. Have you ever heard of someone called Wasim, right? Or Wisam, or Wasima? Then that basically means beauty, right? Someone who has beauty, or a Wasim person is someone who has beauty and they have features. Yeah, so Sima means like unique features. This person has a very unique characteristics in their features. So you call that person a Wasim person. So simatun basically means signs, alamatun, right? So ala al-fata simatun. On every person, on a person, there's signs, litiba'ihi, for his nature, due to his nature. In other words, taba', it means the thing that has been stamped. So your nature is called tabi'a because it's like stamped with you. You can't separate it. Just like if you stamp something, you can't separate the two things. He says, وَعَلَى الْفَتَى لِتِبَعِي simatun. And every person and the people have on them, or person has on them, simatun, signs, due to their nature. They can't help it. They're like an open book, basically, right? They're walking down the road, they're speaking, and you can tell like lots of things from them just by their behavior, you can say. تَلُوحُ عَلَى جَبِينِهِ لَاحَ يَلُوحُ. It's from the word lawh. Lawh, it means like a tablet. And so the reason why the word لَاحَ يَلُوحُ means tablet is because a tablet makes something very clear. Right, let's say something's in your mind. In the olden days, if you wanted to write something down, you write it on a tablet. A tablet would be like not like today's obviously modern, Apple or Samsung tablets. No, talking about tablet as in like a large piece of wood upon which they would write things, or a piece of rock they would write things on. And this is what is called a lawh. So he says, لاح يلوح means to becomes apparent. ظهر يظهر. So taluhu ala jabinihi. Jabin means forehead. Right. So this part of the body, all this is called a jabin. Right. So jabin, and this is a name as well. I think a lot of in the Pakistani culture, this is a very common name, jabin, that they have. And jabin actually means forehead. And like normally jabin is like the thing that's right in your face. It's a part of the beauty of a person as well. And likewise, it's something which is like right in their face. Like, you say to someone, "Oh, is it written on my forehead? I can see it on your forehead." That doesn't mean that it's written on the forehead. It actually just means that it's like as clear, it's like advertised on your face. So ala al-fata, so upon a fata, on top of a fata, on them, on their skin, on their body, there is simatun, due to their tiba', due to their nature, there's alama, signs which become visible, evident, ala jabinihi, on his forehead. Yeah, so it's a nice kind of like poem that Imam Shafi has mentioned over here. I personally like it a lot because it shows Imam Shafi understood that a lot of people, when they speak, they really shouldn't be speaking, right? They're really kind of causing themselves more and more problems. So we need to learn, basically what he's saying is we need to learn when to speak and when not to speak. Unfortunately, sometimes around certain people, we let ourselves go and we just say all sorts of things, especially when it comes to some people are very active in speaking when they online, because of anonymity, or they can't see people's faces. So we have to be careful, or especially careful when we're online, because that's when we don't have our measures in place that control our words. So I really like this poem. Let's look at some of the sentences here. لا خير في حشو الكلام. حشو الكلام is a nice phrase to use. So you might want to say, for example, I read this article. Yeah, I read this article, and كان فيه حشو الكلام. Yeah, كان فيه حشو الكلام. اهتديت إلى عيونه. This is a nice kind of like you're guided to the core. اهتديت إلى أصل الكلام. اهتديت إلى يعني الدروس المهمة. الصمت أجمل بالفتى. الصمت بالفتى أجمل من منطق. صمت بالفتى. Yeah, so الصمت, silence with a person, silence in a person. الصمت بالفتى. This is a nice way of kind of saying it. Try to use this as well. الصمت بزيد خير أجمل أفضل أجمل من منطق speech again. You might want to say هناك سمعت أو رأيت الناس عندهم منطق كثير. Yeah, منطق can also mean logical, I remember. في غير حين وعلى لطباعه سمة. على كل إنسان سمة. على كل طالب العلم سمة علامة تلوح. Yeah, it becomes evident, it becomes apparent. Again, there's some things that we need to learn from this. Like we say, silence is gold, right? Silence is gold, right? But not all the time. Sometimes actually toxic to be silent, you need to speak. And sometimes, we say things like, sometimes speech gets people into a lot of trouble. Yeah, talking gets people in a lot of trouble. So I think a lot of these kind of like sayings around speech revolve around similar things as well. Okay, anyway, طيب. يقول الإمام شافعي رحمه الله: لا خير، يعني ليس هناك أي ذرة من خير في حشو الكلام، في الكلام الذي يملأ به الأشياء، الكلام الفاضي الذي لا فائدة فيه ولا حاجة إليه. إذا اهتديت إلى عيونه، إذا كنت وصلت، اهتديت، وصلت، حصلت على عيون الكلام، حصلت على يعني أصل الكلام، على يعني الكلام المهم، الأمور المهمة، إذا حصلت عليها فلا حاجة، يعني إذا حصلت على مخ الكلام فلا حاجة إلى هذا الحشو، إلى هذا وهذا، هذا قيل وهذا قال، لأن كل هذه الأمور هي أصلا تابعة لأصل الكلام. فإذا حصلت على أصل الكلام، لماذا يقول هذا الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله؟ كأن الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله هو فهم أن هناك كثير من الأشياء الذي كتبها العلماء أو الناس، وكثير منها لا حاجة إليه، لا فائدة فيه، لأنهم يتكررون فيه الأمور، أو يكررون فيه الأمور، ويضيع الطالب أو العالم يعني وقته فيه، خاصة إذا كان يعرف هذا من قبل. والصمت أجمل بالفتى. والصمت يعني السكوت. إذا كان الإنسان تحلى وتخلق بالسكوت ويعني تبناه في حياته، فهذا شيء أجمل من منطق، هذا شيء أجمل من الكلام ومن النطق ومن يعني الغوغاء والتشدق. نعم، في غير حينه. إذا كان ليس وقته فالسكوت أفضل. نعم، هذا أيضا شيء قد ورد في الحديث أيضا، يعني الصمت، يعني الإنسان إذا سكت، من صمت نجا. يعني الشخص الذي يعني حصل على هذه المرتبة فهو يستطيع أن يسكت في الوقت الذي لا ينبغي فيه الكلام، فهو حصل على هذه المرتبة يعني النجاة. من صمت نجا. لأن الذي تكلم في غير حينه فقد يوقع نفسه في الورطة وفي المشاكل. وعلى الفتى لاتباعه سمة علامة. على الفتى يعني على صورة الفتى، على شكل، على جلد الفتى. ترى على جلد الفتى ماذا ترى؟ ترى عليه علامة تلوح تظهر لجميع من ينظر إليه على جبينه. يعني هذه العلامة ترى على جبينه. ماذا يقصد بهذا؟ أنك ترى على جبين الإنسان. ليس هناك يعني إذا كان الشخص يتكلم كثير فهو مكتوب على جبينه، لا، بل المراد من هذا بأن يعني من طبيعة الإنسان، من طبيعة كل شخص سواء كان رجل أو مرأة، يعني إذا رأيت إليهم، إذا نظرت إلى وجوههم ترى هناك علامات يعني علامات تخبرك يعني ماذا طبيعة هذا الشخص، يعني كيف يكون هذا الشخص. هل هذا الشخص من الذين يتكلمون كثير بكلام فاضي لا فائدة حاجة فيه، أو هل هذا الشخص رجل يعني حليم، رجل مفكر، رجل ذو حكمة. نعم. فهذا يعني يقصد به الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله. كأن واحد قال كأن الناس كلهم كتاب مفتوح، وتستطيع أن تقرأ على وجوههم، على جبينهم يعني صفحات وجهه، صفحات طبيعته. طيب، جزاكم الله خير. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you guys enjoy my videos, please think about becoming patrons so that you can support my channel and I can make more beneficial videos, and I can even branch out and get other people involved in helping me with this. That's the aim, the idea is, inshallah. So if you guys are interested in that, please check out the description below. You can give $1 a month, £1 a month, or anything you like. And this is something that I really, really appreciate, because it kind of like makes the work a lot easier for me to be able to fulfill my mission and my dream, which is to provide, on my channel, videos from beginner level all the way to advanced level in all subjects that I have learnt. Right? So whether it's Arabic grammar, or whether it's Arabic poetry, or whether it's the science of Quran or tafsir, or anything out there, inshallah, which I have studied, I hopefully want to be able to provide that for you guys in the best format possible, and that can only happen with your support. So jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions or any suggestions, put it in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.